Everyone, will the clerk please call the roll?
Good morning. Calling the roll for the Monday, February 14th Board of Control meeting. It is 11:03. Nan Baker. Here. Dale Miller. Here. Trevor McAllister serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones.
Here.
Nicole English serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Mike Chambers serving as an alternate for Armin Budish.
Here.
Lee Tucker serving as an alternate for the fiscal officer.
Here.
Catherine Takaczyk.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, very good. Next in our agenda is review of the minutes from February 7th. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Is there public comment?
No public comment.
No public comment. Let's move on to our first item, please.
First item, BC 2022-83, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment to a contract with Sterling Professional Group Incorporated for construction services and partial renovation of the 6th floor of the County Prosecutor's Office at the Halley Warehouse for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $11,383.78.
Good morning, Matt Reimer representing the Department of Public Works. This item is our final contract amendment, our only and final contract amendment for this particular capital project. The project status is complete and we're reconciling our final construction costs. The $11,383 is for delay costs related to schedule contractor general conditions extension due to COVID-19 delays in the HVAC equipment delivery, as well as a uninterruptible power supply upgrade when we knew what the prosecutor's office IT equipment layout was going to be. So this represents our final amendment and final cost for the project.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-84, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment to a contract with Advanced Door Company for overhead garage door maintenance services for various locations for the period April 29th, 2019 through April 28th, 2022 for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $95,000.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works. This item is a contract amendment with our current vendor, Advanced Door. They provide maintenance and services and repairs for our overhead door contract. We're adding additional funds, which will take us through the end of the contract period early this year. We do have a formal bid on the street right now, which closes on February 22nd, which will be the start of a new contract.
Thank you, Matt. Tom, are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-85, Department of Public Works, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Johnson Controls Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $40,000 for a state contract purchase of fire protection system parts and maintenance services for the period February 14th, 2022 through February 13th, 2024, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Public Works again. This is a contract submission with Johnson Controls. It's for a 2-year contract for as-needed pieces, parts, and services with regards to various county buildings that have Johnson Controls fire protection systems in place. This was actually bid out 3 different times. Johnson Controls came back with state term pricing, so that's why it's listed as a term contract. They during one of the bidding periods, they offered state their pricing through the state to make sure we get the best price for all the services they provide.
Okay, Tom, thank you. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC
Thank you.
2022-86, Department of Development, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in a payment to Greater Cleveland Media Development Corporation, doing business as Greater Cleveland Film Commission, in the amount of $210,000 for general operating support for the period February 23rd, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, and recommending the payment in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Paul Hertig with the Department of Development. The Department of Development recommends continuing our annual operating support allocation to the Film Commission. We've been providing this level of support every year since 2015, although we did make a slight reduction in the year 2020 due to the impact of COVID on the county budget. We commissioned an evaluation of the economic impact of this support by our colleagues at Baldwin Wallace University, and the results of the evaluation showed there is indeed a positive impact, that the economic impact and in fact the revenue to Cuyahoga County does exceed the amount of support we provide every year. We were concerned, as everyone was, about the impact of COVID, and I'm pleased to note, and by the way, their leader, Bill Garvey, is here for additional information if needed, that they've rebounded. There was quite a bit of activity in 2021, mainly having to do with one very large production in the area, but there are a number of productions already scheduled for 2022. And we believe that this ongoing support is needed and appropriate, and it does help to sustain the presence of the industry here in Northeast Ohio.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board? Councilman Miller.
What was the one large production for 2021, and what productions are expected for 22?
Councilman, I defer to Mr. Garvey for the details.
Good morning. Thank you. The large production was White Noise. It was based on a book. It was a Netflix production that spent upwards of $100 million here in Northeast Ohio. It hired 1,421 people locally, and it took a span of about 5.5 months of production with secondary crews that were prepping and wrapping over the course of the entire year. Actually, that was the last job I did in the production side of the business. Up until 4 months ago, I was one of the workers working on these movies for the last decade here. The 3 productions that are approved for tax incentive have total production budgets for the first part of 2022 to the tune of $98.6 million. The majority of the approvals of tax incentive for this round went to Northeast Ohio and in particular Cuyahoga County.
Okay, very good. Yeah.
And do we know what films are going to be produced in 2022?
There are 2 Disney movies that were approved and 1 Warner Brothers project. They are, one of them is called Sisters, No One Will Save You, and an Untitled project for Warner Brothers.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Councilwoman Baker.
Yes, thank you. I know you do good work out there for us. Just a question on, how different it was in 2020, and even though there was a 15% cut, there was still a donation made towards the effort. And then, of course, in 2021, the COVID continued. Do you have carryover funds left because of the inactivity in 2020 and 2021, even though you have, of course, some activity, but with the large group gatherings and a lot of the shutdowns, what kind of carryovers did you have that support another $200,000 for 2022?
Thank you. Yeah, the part of our budget is fundraising. So we don't complete our budget just through county and city funding, and the fundraising aspects of what we do were severely limited in the last couple of years due to COVID. So because of that, because of the typical additive impact of the fundraising we do and the limit up to that, no, we don't really have much in the way of carryover funding. Although we did get an SBA loan, so we do have a little bit of that. But typically we would get a significant portion through fundraising, and that's been limited.
Okay. So the 2020 funding that was given was more for operational, just to keep the organization and people in place?
Yeah, and typically,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go
No,
ahead.
go ahead, that's right.
And typically we have to lobby for these movies to come here. So we, continue to go out to meet with studios to, reintroduce ourselves and, tout the positive aspects of Northeast Ohio to bring these projects here. So part of our operational budget goes towards that, and we continue to do that even though there was limited production going on in 2020. I will say this. When I was one of these workers, so my job was working at the beginning of each of these movies when they're still trying to decide where to go. And in 2020, coming out of that vacuum of no filming, there was a ton of production ramping up, and especially production that wanted to come here that was limited because of our tax incentive cap. So, $100 million worth of production that applied and wanted to come here. Projects that I was working on in the fall of 2020, unfortunately went elsewhere. So that's why we're trying to get that cap raised in order to take advantage of this explosion of content that's happening right now. And coming out of COVID and the streaming wars that are, ramping up production, you had Disney talking about $33 billion worth of production budgets this year. That's double what they spent last year. So we're very excited about, the amount of production that came last year. It was over $100 million in Northeast Ohio, and that's the best year we've ever had. And, another, first part of the year with 98 million, it's looking pretty good for this year as well.
Okay, so your fundraising efforts this year certainly look promising. Is that?
I would hope, yeah, and it's it's a COVID. I think COVID was the limiter there, and hopefully we'll have more opportunities going forward.
Okay, thank you for your answers. I appreciate it. I know it's been a difficult time.
Okay, any final questions on this item? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-87, Department of Information Technology, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to TEC Communications Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $10,281.84 for a state contract purchase of switches and wireless network equipment for the Justice Center Tower 2, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Janelle Green on behalf of the Department of IT. This is a purchase for switches and wireless network, Cisco gear for the Justice Center to expand the wireless network over there. This was purchased via the state term contracting vehicle, and it was bought in cooperation with the Public Works Department to finish this project out.
Thank you, Janelle. Are there questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC
Thank you.
2022-88, Fiscal Department, recommending an award and enter into an agreement with State of Ohio Office of the Auditor, Local Government Services, in the amount not to exceed $97,500 to prepare the comprehensive annual financial report for calendar year 2021.
Good morning. This is Michael Zapola from the Fiscal Office. This is, again, a contract with the Auditor's Office, State of Ohio, for, Local Government Services Group to convert our cash basis statements into accrual basis to be published in the comprehensive annual financial report. Dollars are slightly or higher than last year. But the rate's a little bit higher as well. But we do have new outside auditors instead of the state doing the work this year. So that's the reason for the increase.
Thanks, Mike. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Nicole English. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-89, Court of Common Pleas Corrections Planning Board, requesting authority to apply for grant funds to U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, Bureau of Justice Assistance, in the amount of $568,750 for the implementation of a peer support pilot program in connection with the fiscal year 2021 Adult Drug Court and Veterans Treatment Court Grant Program for the period October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2025, and submitting the grant award in connection with said grant application.
Good morning. This is Linda Lagoonzad with the Corrections Planning Board. This 4-year grant from the Bureau of Justice Assistance allows the court to enhance the operations of its drug court, the adult drug court, dockets through a peer support pilot program benefiting offenders with opioid and substance use disorders. The court will collaborate with Thrive Behavioral Health Center to provide continuing care to the adult drug court participants early in their recovery who need trusting relationships, hope for recovery, and assistance navigating the oftentimes confusing recovery landscape. The program is unique because peer supporters will provide recovery services to participants while they are incarcerated and awaiting treatment. And because intervention at this early stage will more effectively promote interdisciplinary care and recovery long-term. Many of the peer supporters will identify themselves as persons in recovery. All are certified as peer recovery supporters and adhere to Thrive's evidence-based peer support model, which was developed with the help of Case Western Reserve University. Thrive is expected to serve about 210 clients per year, or about 840 unduplicated individuals over the 4-year grant. Much of the grant award will support Thrive's efforts through a service contract. Since Medicaid now covers peer support counseling services, grant funds will support the presence of peer supporters in the drug court setting through non-billable activities such as attendance at drug court, staff meetings, and court hearings. And as I said earlier, the development of relationships with drug court participants while they are incarcerated to enhance relationship building and begin goal setting before discharge. This award was provided, this award is listed as beginning in October of 2021, but the Bureau of Justice Assistance did not award us this grant until right before the holidays in December. The court accepted the award in January, and during the grant, if it appears we need an extra 3 months to make up for the time lost, we'll ask for an extension of time from the Bureau of Justice Assistance. But we'll work closely with Thrive, and obviously the adult drug court will be monitoring, those utilizing services to see if that's even necessary. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Are there questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item's approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-90, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, recommending awards and enter into agreements with various municipalities in the total amount not to exceed $10,800 for community diversion program services for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023, with the City of Broadview Heights in the amount not to exceed $2,400, with the City of Pepper Pike in the amount not to exceed $1,200, with the City of Richmond Heights in the amount not to exceed $2,400, with the City of Warrensville Heights in the amount not to exceed $4,400, and with the Village of Orange in the amount not to exceed $400.
Good morning, Tamika Ballard with Juvenile Court. These are cities who participate in our community diversion program that keeps our youth from official court involvement. We have sent out 35 community diversion program contract agreements this year. We did receive back 33 of those 35. This contract is going to be extended. It's going to be extended for 2 years. And we have approximately 7 that will be forthcoming. They are late because we are down 1 full-time employee and we have not received some of the required documentation that we request back in time to get this January 1, 22 start date.
Thank you, Tamika. Questions from the board on this item? Please, Councilwoman Baker.
Just curious on the breakdown. We have the Village of Orange for is that $400?
Mhm.
I just wonder why that
Yes.
is so
Let's
much
see.
lower than most. What can they do with $400? Is there a
Okay,
specific?
the reason why these cities, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm just curious to know what, is there a targeted program that they're trying to fund or?
What it is that we normally go by the amount of children that actually get serviced per
Oh,
city.
okay.
So that's why you'll see a fluctuation of numbers within the cities.
So for the example of Village of Orange, they may only have maybe 1 or 2 children. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Any additional questions? Seeing no additional questions, I'll make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item, please.
Next item, BC 2022-91, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with Motorola Solutions Incorporated for vendor-hosted next-generation 911 services for the period August 1st, 2013 through March 10th, 2025, to expand the scope of services to upgrade from CallWorks system to Vesta call handling system, and for the continuation of text to 911 services effective February 14th, 2022, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $45,396.
Good morning, Mary Beth Vaughn from Public Safety. And as Sharon's just mentioned, this amendment has 2 parts. The first part, which is the extension of the text to 911 services, the $45,396 appropriation budget increase, that is simply to extend allow us to continue to pay on text to 911 through the remainder of the contract. The other part of this amendment is that Motorola will be replacing its CallWorks system with a more robust Vesta call handling system at no additional cost to the county. Now, having said there's no additional cost, we will be bringing forward 1 contract and 3 amendments, because during the time that this is being rolled out, we will need to increase our circuits, but Motorola will be reimbursing us the cost of those additional AT&T agreements.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-92, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award and enter into a contract with AT&T Corporation in the amount not to exceed $125,025 for the installation of 125 dedicated 911 voice circuits and 8 data circuits for the next generation vendor-hosted 911 system for the period February 14th, 2022 and through October 1st, 2022.
Mary Beth Vaughn again, and this is the first of the 4 agreements with AT&T. These additional trunks will allow the systems to function simultaneously. Once the new system is up and running, these will be shut down. And as I've already mentioned, Motorola will be reimbursing us these costs.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Moving on to the next item.
Next item, BC 2022-93, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, on behalf of the Sheriff's Department, submitting an amendment to an agreement with Chagrin Valley Dispatch Council for countywide criminal justice data sharing system services for the period March 1st, 2017 through February 28th, 2022, to extend the time period to April 30th, 2022, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $75,000.
This contract is for the support of the data warehouse, and we're requesting to extend it for 2 months. We did issue an RFP for these services. We're in the process of evaluating the proposal that was received, and this will just give us the additional 2 months we need before that new contract can start.
Okay, Mary Beth, thank you. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-94, Sheriff's Department, submitting an amendment to an agreement with Chagrin Valley Dispatch Council for dispatch operation services for law enforcement activities for the period April 28th, 2021 through December 31st, 2022, for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $59,899.
Hi, this is Laura Sims with the Sheriff's Department. We're requesting an amendment for additional funds. The requirement for the additional funds is because the Sheriff's Department, in order to be part of the dispatch services, is part of the council, and there was a 7%, excuse me, there was a 7% fee increase for all the members that participate with the dispatch in 2022, and the $59,899 represents the 7% increase for this year for 2022.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2022-95, Sheriff's Department, submitting an RFP exemption, which will result in an award recommendation to Stadler Niekamp Financial Services Incorporated, doing business as ProWare, in the amount not to exceed $35,000 for the integration of a Sheriff's Service web portal to the existing Cuyahoga County Justice Information System for processing and monitoring service requests from Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Court Division, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
This is Laura Sims from the Sheriff's Department again. This is for an exemption to create a software portal that will coincide with the current system that's used in our civil division. And with the Sheriff's Office will be taking over the process serving for the juvenile court. And the system will be necessary for us to be able to have interoperability between our system and the JJC about the data that we would need in order to serve for the process servers, as well as for them to have the results of whether how the service went with that. So this amount is just for the installation of the new software. It's been approved by the tech board already. And once the installation goes in, it will then fall under the existing ProWare contract that we have for maintenance moving forward.
Okay, Laura, thank you again. Questions from the board on this item?
One.
Yes, Councilwoman Baker.
So if I'm understanding this right, this is kind of a big deal that it's being shifted to the Sheriff's Department. Is that fair to say?
Yes, because they'll be able to reduce their staffing over there for the process servers that they have. And my understanding is that and I don't know exactly what it is, but there is specifically reason that the Sheriff's Department needs to do the process serving instead of the JJC, because I think that it has to be done by one of our civil deputies instead of a civilian service, which is, I think, what they've got right now.
If I may, do they
Please.
have the personnel in place to take over those additional responsibilities?
Do we have the personnel in place?
Well, yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Yes, we will be able to take care of that.
And if I may, is
Please.
anyone else going to be able to have access, or is this solely done through the sheriff's department? Is this only for the sheriff to manage, or will others be able to get into this programming?
Oh, so it would be a two-way street between the sheriff's department and the juvenile court. Only in this specific porthole, like we've already got another system set up that's with ProAir, so they would not be able to access that. But this particular would be compartmentalized so that the sheriff's department and the JJC could both access the system.
They could, okay. Who, if I'm just curious,
Please, yeah.
who has controlling authority with the sheriff department? Are they the main?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, we would, because again, once this system is up and running, it would fall under our maintenance agreement that we already have with ProAir for the systems that we have. So we would be the primary on this. We would just be allowing the JJC to have access to the system for, to be able to exchange the data.
Okay, good, thanks. Thanks for
Absolutely.
the answers, I appreciate it.
Yes, good questions. Any final questions from the board? Seeing none, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Baker. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Moving on to exemptions.
It's item BC 2022-96, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Early Childhood, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Family Connections of Northeast Ohio in the amount not to exceed $1,028,000 for program administration services for the Supporting Partnerships to Assure Ready Kids program for Invest in Children for the period February 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez representing the Office of Early Childhood. This is an exemption for Family Connections for the SPARK program. SPARK is our early literacy program for 3 and 4-year-olds. Early literacy activities are delivered in the home by a trained specialist working with the child and the parent together. The 3 main goals are to improve school readiness among SPARK participants entering kindergarten, and increase SPARK participant scores in the 3rd grade achievement test in reading and math, and to improve school attendance rates.
Okay, Marcos, thank you. Questions from the board on this item? Councilman Miller. Yep.
Just a comment that I received your answer to the question I put out, and you said that most of the money does not actually go for administrative services. It's mostly for direct services.
Correct.
You know, the way the item currently reads, it kind of implies that we're spending over $1 million just for administrative services. And so I would suggest it would make sense to amend the description to read program administrative services and direct services.
I mean, I'm okay with that if Sharon, you're okay with that.
Sure, we can amend that.
Okay, I'm good. Any additional questions, comments? With that being said, I'll make a motion to approve as amended.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item is approved as amended. Moving on.
Next item, BC 2022-97, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Homeless Services, recommending an alternative procurement process, which will result in an award recommendation on RQ 7099 for the 2021 Emergency Solutions Grant, utilizing an alternative funding source to Emerald Development and Economic Network Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $1,277,298 for rapid rehousing services for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez again, this time representing Office of Homeless Services. We are seeking approval of an alternative procurement process to recommend award for rapid rehousing. For a proposal, the vendor submitted for this service in response to our most recent Emergency Solutions Grant RFP. This is the same service, just a different funding source. The vendor was the only one who submitted for this specific service. This will enable us to make the award without having to, for the vendor to resubmit a new proposal.
Okay, Marcos, thank you. Questions from the board on this item? Seeing no questions, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Lee Tucker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Moving on to today's consent agenda.
We're on items BC 2022-98 through 99.
Okay, board members, there's only a couple items here. Let me know if you have any questions on any of them.
Mr. Chair, I do have one on 98.
Yes, please.
And I don't know if anyone's on the Zoom or we can just get an answer later, but what is the plan after September 29, 2022? Are there additional years associated with this grant, or will this be the last component of the grant?
Good morning, Marcos Cortez again. Unfortunately, I don't have that information, but we will track that for you and send it to you.
Thank you, Marcus.
Excellent question. Okay, good question. Does anybody else have any questions on the remaining items? If not, then I will make a motion to approve today's consent agenda items as listed. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The items are approved. Moving on to other business.
There's no other business?
No other business. Is there any public comment?
I would just like to announce that the next meeting of the Board of Control will be on Tuesday, February 22nd, due to the President's Day holiday.
Thank you for that note. Good. Okay. No additional public comment? Nope. At that time, I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Lee Tucker. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.